This is still the conversation, and of course, at this time, we will be going to Sierra Leone, where the Sierra Leonean President Julius Bayo yesterday declared a dusk to dawn curfew in the country following a coup scare in the capital, Freetown. Although the curfew has been reviewed to nighttime, the Minister of Information and Civic Education, Chairman Ba, in a statement said some unknown persons attempted to break into the military armory at Wilberforce Barracks, but were repelled by security forces. Although it's not officially confirmed yet that there was a coup attempt.
Hours of this morning.
Of course, joining me right now is Nasasira Mark, African Affairs Analyst and Lawyer from Uganda, and also David Otto, Director, Geneva Center for Africa Security and Strategic Studies from Abuja. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, let me start off with you. Of course, we understand that, this is a really, well, I call it interesting times in Sierra Leone. Even though it's not been officially confirmed as a coup attempt by the government, what could have been the intention of these gunmen attack on an armory?
Well, the story of Sierra Leone is quite interesting currently, because it seems that the administration of Bayo seems to be attracting a lot of coup attempts. This should be the third attempt against his power. And of course, the different talk that has gone on by different political players in Sierra Leone about the governance issues, democracy issues. The previous election that was held in June was highly contested, even though observers said there were irregularities in tabulation and the declaration of the vote. So there is contestation for power in Sierra Leone, and I think this is what has inspired this coup. And of course, there's also talk that this could be an inside job that has been done to try and create a leeway or create relief for President Bayo by his government, so that he's able to run the government without the contestation, because you know that the APC members have boycotted parliament and have refused to take part in his government. So some people are looking at it as an inside job that has been done by his government, orchestrated by his government, to make sure that, of course, things like the curfew come into play, and that gives him relief to organize himself. Because, of course, also, the economy is doing bad, and there's a lot to be desired ever since he came to power. And, of course, now that he's going into his second term, it begins on a bad note, because all the other actors and other players are being attacked. So when you look at also the reaction of the government, it also, but stresses this particular point, because when you attack your former contestants and then you also go against the former president's security, it shows exactly that there is a contestation of power, and you cannot wish away that idea that possibly there is an attempt to create relief for President Bayo, to make sure that he's able to sanitize his government and create a leeway for him to govern with less contestation.
You said there is an attempt to create some sort of relief for the president to be able to sanitize his government. So why would some people choose to attack an armory? Are you saying they are doing it in the interest of the government, or in the interest of the president?
A couple of weeks back, or months, the president's wife came out and said that the president was an expert on coups. And that is why I'm saying some voices are saying that this could have been an inside job and reverse psychology, because of all the three attempts that have happened, and of course the president has come out and the government has come out to say that the leaders of the coups, the attempts that have happened before, have been arrested, but none of those has been brought to court. So when you look at the playings out in Sierra Leone, then you understand the people who think that actually this could be an inside job by the government to try and create such an atmosphere where the president can rule with less opposition, so to speak, or with few opposition actors pushing more for regime change.
I mean, I find this rather interesting, when you say it looks like an inside job, because one would want to ask to what end. I mean, why would a government make an attempt to topple its own, government? But that aside, now, the aspect of, we know that there's a statement by the government saying that some of those involved have been apprehended, but their identities still remain unknown, particularly to general public. Now, what is the implication of this, particularly when it comes to building confidence and also transparency in terms of ongoing investigation on this matter?
Exactly. It goes back to what I've been saying, because I told you before attempted coups have happened in Sierra Leone. No one has been brought to book for those attempts. So when they say they have arrested the leaders and they are not mentioning who the leaders are, of course, it raises the questions that I've been saying. But be that as it may, the issue of the government foiling the attempt, if it is a genuine attempt indeed, is of course it raises confidence in the people to believe that the security and the security forces are in charge. But the economy is doing bad in Sierra Leone ever since Bayo took power, and things have been getting rather worse. So if you ask about the confidence, I am not so sure if you're asking about the confidence of the security or the government in its ability to do that what it is supposed to be doing.
Now, let's talk about the political and also policy implication of this particular, well, I call it incident that happened in Sierra Leone. What do you see it having on the country's both political, particularly policy landscape of the country? Should we expect in the coming days maybe resignations or sackings or some sort of rejig in cabinet? What do you see happening in the coming days?
No, I don't see sackings and resignations. Rather, I see a high-handedness with the state and the security actors. So we're going to have a more robust and a more brutal crackdown on the opposition, because I believe that the biggest challenge to Bayo's government has been the insistence of the APC to stay away from his government and not to, because you know that the peace deal that was signed now cannot function in such an environment. So he's given a leeway to run the government as he wishes. So of course there are already questions of human rights abuses and the terrible crackdown that is happening. So going forward, you will have that. But then also the implication of this could be the emboldenment of other elements and actors. So this might not be the last of the coup attempt in Sierra Leone. We might see another one coming because the government will be now vindictive in its attack against the opposition.
All right. I mean, this, of course, are interesting times. There is also a worrisome rise in military takeovers across, Africa. Now, since January 2023, the continent has experienced about 4 coups, particularly in countries like Gabon, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Why, is there a sudden rise in coup attempts on the African continent?
The democracy and every other aspect of democracy seems to be failing. I do not know if Africa has completely failed when it comes to democracy, because you look at the elections that are being held in these countries, and it is a sham of an election. People are aggrieved, and what is playing out is the grievances, because people have been forced to resort to violence to have their voices heard. So the democracy is fading increasingly. because the political actors, and the last time I was on this show, I said the regional economic blocs and all these coalitions that are happening seem to be more interested in keeping the actors in power rather than really checking how the different actors and the different member states are participating or are performing regards democracy. So we have a problem of democracy. We have high-handedness of state and state actors and security actors. And so as long as we still have that happening, we will still have such coups happening. But also, I would think that West Africa largely has been a gift that was given by the Western states when they attacked Libya. So that Libya seems to be a gift that keeps on giving because it sparked a chain of reaction in different countries and coup after coup, coup after coup. So, like Professor Kelson put it, we seem to be having an end justifying the means, because the pure theory of law is that if a coup is successful and is able to go through, then it is legally acceptable because it is able to defend itself. The government is able to defend itself. So what we have right now is that playing out, the pure theory of law, that the people who are attempting to carry out these coups are emboldened by the fact that it is actually likely to be possible for them to capture power. And once they capture power, there is nothing that can be done. The governments will have to be, recognized.